this is Beverly from scrapandthread.blogspot.com. Today I wanted to show you several different ways to use watercolor pencils and stamping. So first you want to find an image that has quite a bit of open, or maybe even just a little bit of open space depending on what you're looking for. And I used this butterfly image and I stamped it on just regular white daisy cardstock. And the reason why I did it on this is because with the white daisy or with any kind of smooth cardstock, it will stamp better. If you use regular watercolor paper that has some texture to it, you don't get as nice and crisp of an image. And so this part was important to me. If you are going for that more rustic look, then by all means use a different kind of paper. But the thing to be aware of, if you do use a cardstock weight, you want to be careful about not putting on too much water because it will pill and make little balls of paper basically as you're watercoloring with that. So this is, as I said, Close to My Heart's White Daisy. I stamped it with black archival ink, which I found works really well with watercoloring. You can also stamp with StazOn, or you can stamp with Versamark or a pigment ink and then emboss it with a heat gun. So I used this stamp. It's from the Your Own Kind of Wonderful stamps from Close to My Heart. And then I did a variety of different ways of stamping, coloring, so you could see the difference. And the first one here, I just used the colored pencils straight up. I didn't do anything to them. I just colored them in, and so this was the result for that one. Then the next one was I colored them again, and I colored all of these with the exact same colors. There's a pink, kind of a coral color, 2 different shades of green, and a yellow. So those are the Close to My Heart pencils that I used for all 4 of these. The second one, after coloring it, I used a blender pen. This happens to be a Close to My Heart blender pen. It's not an alcohol blender pen. It's their regular acid-free Close to My Heart marker that I used for that. The next one, I used a water brush. It's just one of those brushes that you fill up the barrel with water, tap water, and then it has a brush on the end, or you can use just a regular paintbrush. And so you can see there's quite a bit of a difference between the blender one and the watercolor one, in that this is a lot lighter, a little bit fainter looking. And then on this last one, I used the you can either use a blender pen or the paintbrush or the water brush, and you just use it up against the color of the pencil. So you would just kind of take off some of that color there, and I think you probably can see on the end there's some green. I'll show you how it shows up on here. So you just then are basically coloring with this marker, or if you use the paintbrush or the water brush, then you have that. So you're taking the color off of the pencil itself. This is the one with the watercolor brush, or just the paintbrush with water. And then on this side, I'm showing the difference between if you use the blender pen with the watercolor pencils, and here I just made the marks of the colored pencils, and here they are much softer looking when you use the technique where you take the color off of the actual pencil and put it on there. So if you want to try embossing, on this one I used the Versamark ink, and then I used white embossing powder, and then I did color over that with the blue colored pencil, and so then that gives you a totally different kind of look, which is kind of fun. This one I had stamped with StazOn, and then I colored it with the watercolored pencil on there. Okay, and then the last one I wanted to show you was if you take the watercolor pencils and you lay the color down on a piece of paper, and then you pick it up from here. So on this particular piece of cardstock, I just colored just like a little palette on the white daisy cardstock, and then using either just plain water with a paintbrush, which I actually happen to like. If you have a really thin brush, it works really well. But then you just take the water and you pick up the color that you want, and then you can just paint with it.
I apologize that this is so blurry. I wanted to show how to use the water brush with this palette that I made on paper. And so all you do is you just take any of those three different media tools, the water brush, the marker there that's marketed for dye-based inks, or the regular watercolor brush with water, and you just kind of dab at the paint. And I'm going to try to show you what it looks like on the white cardstock scrap there. It is a very diffused look. Watercoloring is a very light media, so it's kind of hard to see on the video, and I do apologize. But I appreciate you stopping by. If you have any questions, please visit me at scrapandthread.blogspot.com or send me an email at stampandbev@msn.com. Thanks.